Hello and how you doing, and welcome back to another episode of Two Jagoffs. I am your host, Austin Cairns. And ladies and gentlemen, here on the podcast today, we are bringing you guys yet another interview. Now, this interview isn't exactly going to be like our previous interviews in the past where I sit down with someone I never really met before and I get to know them a little bit. My guest today, I actually know very well. And by very well, I mean I practically know everything about this man. But you guys, the fans of Two Jagoffs, only know very little. So today's guest here on Two Jagoffs is a friend of the show. He's been on the program several times. He actually debuted in the Jake Gensel trade episode. That episode ended up being, I think, our 6th or 7th most listened to episode of all time. So that episode did very well. He's been on a couple of game shows in the past. He was on the first ever edition of Who Knows Austin Cairns Better, where he actually defeated the other Jagoff, Lucas Coons, on it. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome lifelong friend of mine, Kevin Homa. Kevin, how's it going, my friend?
I never met this man before in my life. He kidnapped me. Please send help. No, I'm just kidding.
Yo, that's a great introduction.
Oh man, no, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here as I always am, and just I'm here for laughs, here to have a good time.
Of course. I mean, dude, every time you come on the podcast, it just like I get worried, but I also get excited. If that makes sense.
I think I've been doing better at watching myself.
Hey. The last time that, I think it was like 2 times ago, I want to say it was the blind ranking special, I was so worried about like us slipping up because it was me, you, and Lucas in the corner of my bedroom with one mic, one headset. It was the most like...
It was 3 dudes in like a 6 foot by like 3 foot space. We were packed like sardines.
We were packed. It was smoking hot that day as well. And I was just worried just like with like the tension already kind of being there that one of us would slip up. I didn't expect me to be the one to slip up out of the 3 of us.
That was so funny.
I think I dropped 2 F-bombs because we were debating roads or whatever. Like, Lucas always brings those topics up that just, like, gets me going. Like, roads or Kellers or something. I don't know what his deal is, but...
My favorite is, it really is, of all things, to get you that mad to cuss like that was roads.
It was the roads. It was the roads that made me break. But, again, you've been on the podcast several times before. I mean, like, we talked hockey before, which we'll definitely talk some hockey today as well. We talked some football in the past. We told some stories. I think we told our infamous firecracker story in the past as well,
yes,
which is like the first story we've ever told people. And we're probably going to tell a bunch of stories here on the podcast today as well. But not many people really know you too well. So the first part of this episode, I kind of want to just ask a couple questions. Obviously, I know all these. I'd be an idiot if I didn't know them. But just for the fans of Two Jagoffs, I would like them to get to know you a little bit since you're now a friend of the show and you appear several times. And I know you have your own path of content creation you may want to go down, which we may get into that a little bit later on, but I don't want to spoil too much.
Right.
So let me ask you this. You went to the same exact high school as me, both graduated the same year, Carleton class of 2022.
Yep.
Would you like to tell the fans how exactly we met?
From
your point of view, because I've said it from my point of view. How do we meet from your point of view?
Well, from my point of view, I mean, it goes back to elementary school. I would say probably, I'm going to say around... I started seeing, like, I would say, or at least seeing it and knowing, like, who you were, like, I think it was about 3rd grade. It was me and my group of buddies. We played freeze tag on the school playground, like, I mean, like, every day for, like, 4 years. Like, same game, same thing, for 4 years. So, I would imagine we were pretty easy to spot, a lot of us. And I would see every now and then with your long hair, as you hate to be reminded by. I can't say that I had long hair too, and yeah, I would just see that really never went anywhere. Like, we would say hi occasionally. That would be really it until 6th grade.
6th grade, yep.
Because we sat. Well, first we were in the same class, so that brought us to talk more. We were seated next to each other, and we were seated with other people who all got along. So it became like a little small friend group there. We all started talking, all started messing with each other, and it just kept climbing to greater things from there, all the way up till now.
Absolutely. I mean, like, on the playground, we used to hang out time. At lunch, 6th grade, you were right on my left. Yep. My first girlfriend was on the right of me, my ex at the time. It was Haley. I think, shout out to Haley. She was diagonal from, she was right across from my ex. It was Simon, who was right across from me. And I think it was Jeremiah.
I think it was Jeremiah as well.
It was Jeremiah who was right across from you. And I remember I would just be a monster. I would just, like, ram myself into you as hard as I could. I ran myself into her. I don't know how I got a best friend and a first girlfriend out of that, but, I mean, that's life.
Hey, all I know is you gotta teach me something. I don't know what I don't know what like unforeseen riz that you had back then, but I need some of it.
It worked. I mean, it worked in high school too, which I don't know how.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know how. But no, so we met in Carlington. That's like where things took off. But the thing that a lot of people didn't know, and I don't really want to go into too much detail on it because I actually have an episode in the future that I would like to cover it all on. Yeah. Me and you's actually been making content for years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something a lot of people didn't know. We began our content creation journey doing, it was Instagram skits, where like me and you would like do the most random videos. Obviously they were just silly, but like at the time, like we would just like make content together. And that was just for fun.
Yeah, it's all part of the fun, just the adventure of doing it, you know?
Yeah, and then we started to we tried the YouTube space out. We did skits, we did gaming content, we did comedy stuff, we did sports, like we did a bunch of different things under that umbrella. We took inspiration from guys like SML and Mr. T Lexify. Like we try to take that and mesh it into its own thing. And me and you, I mean, let's be honest, the actual channels itself didn't go anywhere.
Right.
But I feel like us doing that actually helped me so much with the podcast, if you really think about it.
Yeah, I mean, everything that we did, like, of course, obviously the fun always came first, I believe.
Yeah.
The fun, I mean, the different, I mean, really just, we kind of were really just trying out things. I mean, it was just what was fun, what worked, what was a good combination of both, and what didn't work together. It was really a bunch of things, the experience of doing it. That's why, like, at least I feel like whenever we had, like, school projects, I think that's why we usually did better than most, because I mean, not only were we just doing that, like, for a long time, we know how we both think when it comes to, like, the filming and, like, content creation stuff. We can pretty much read each other and do whatever we want in an instant, just like that. You know?
Absolutely. And I mean, the school projects were some of my favorite. We did the drug project back in high school. We did the flag football one. We did the cough drop one. Then my big final project we just did last semester.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually something we talked about several times. I guess you want to talk about the final project because that one's been kind of a joke passed around. I don't think we've ever fully told that story here on the podcast.
The one we did with me, you, Lucas, the other people for your college. Yeah. That was interesting. That was fun. I really liked that. I don't remember how that came out because I know you had several other ideas. And obviously I gave a couple of my feedback just in case something just, you know, threw at the wall and it stuck, you know.
Of course, yeah. So what it was a video storytelling class I was taking last semester, and you pretty much got to learn how to use like the Canon cameras, the big DSLRs. You got to learn editing features, Adobe Premiere, and that class actually again helped me out a lot with this podcast as well. I took a lot of the stuff I learned from there and I applied it to this, and it's been going great ever since then. And the final project was you got to do whatever you wanted. It had to be like a minute and a half. We ended up doing 8 minutes long, but I obviously cut it down and made a minute. I made a short version and a long version. And the entire premises of the video was I needed 2 people, you and Lucas, to be door-to-door salesmen. I wasn't allowed to appear in the video, which I thought was kind of dumb, but I mean, I'm not going to go against the rubric.
What it is, you know.
It is what it is. You guys were door-to-door salesmen, and I had both of my parents, my grandma, and my sister, and your mom all answer the door. And it was just freaking hilarious. I loved it because your mom acted like she was drunk. Yep. My mom got all offended because you called her ma'am. My dad was your guys' boss, so he was all dressed up in his suit. Went down to his hall.
So perfect.
My nunny was clueless. My grandma, I call her Nunny, she was clueless in the video. And then Bella was just acting like your typical teenage girl. So it meshed so well together. Everybody played their role perfectly. Like, I had no complaints. Most of the complaints that I had was actually my fault because it was either bad camera angles or I didn't dock the audio properly in post-production. So you guys were all phenomenal. So maybe I'll have to link that video to the fans so they could check it out because it's still out there on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
That video project was awesome. Let me ask you a question. With all the video projects we've done in the past, not including this final one that we just did recently, do you have a favorite?
I would say probably definitely the drug project. That was hilarious. That
was our first.
I mean, it's hard to really say which one because they all had their own charm. Like, I also really enjoyed the commercial you did. I think that was from Mr. G's with the football team one. The flag football one that was
the Cougar athletic competition.
that was so stupid. I loved it. Well, because it was obviously I can't. Not only do I not know anything about football, I extra can't play it. So the whole premise was like, okay, you're gonna do like some drills. I think that's what we called. You're gonna do some drills. Mess around with the football and just be kind of clueless. That's really what all it was, you know. And you put that was the best part. You put the NFL theme over it, and right when I went to kick the ball, because the whole thing was I was gonna do like the Charlie Brown thing where you go kick it and I just slip and fall on my butt. and I did, and right when I went to kick them, it cut out. And it cut out on its own. Like, it was like the pre-recorded section of audio that was put in, cut out perfectly, and it just made it so much more funny. And not only that, I think you're telling me, because I wasn't in that class, but the audio, like the NFL, like audio was like so like ungodly loud.
It was bass boosted to the max. It was loud. Like, you could probably hear it down the hall. It was bad.
I think that made it like even better.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, and not just that. My favorite part about that day was neither one of us had our license yet. We were still in high school.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing, because at the end, like, I put you like in crutches and like a neck brace and like wrapped you all up with bandages and stuff, and you had a sling.
You had to walk all that equipment up the hill and get there.
You had to walk 2 blocks with a crutch, all this football gear, all this, like, we were getting so many looks, but it was awesome. It was
so funny. See, it's the dumb stuff like that just adds to the charm of like whatever, like really what we do. There's always some funny little tangent that we can go off of, and it's usually more than one. It's never just one little thing. Oh no, it's a bunch of stuff.
It's a bunch of stuff. So in terms of content creation, obviously we talked about like the skits we've done in the past. We talked about the videos that we did for like our school projects and stuff like that. But not only whenever we were in class doing video projects, we did like projects together, because you know how the typical group work goes.
Yeah.
I would say every time that me and you got together, it went great. We got good grades, but it was disastrous.
Oh, we always causing trouble with us.
There was a certain story I want you to tell, because it's one of my favorites,
okay.
and I'll add on to it as well if you really don't remember it fully. We had a class in 8th grade. I forget what it was called, but it was with Miss Nacera.
And no, that one.
Yeah, we called Miss Nacera. I'll just set up I'll set it up and I'll let you tell the story. Okay. It was a great story. So Miss Nacera was one of our favorite teachers. We both used to mess with her all the time. She was a little bit of a younger teacher, and she's a big Steelers fan, so we always messed with her about the Browns and stuff like that. And for some reason, she had Mr. G's room that year. I don't know why Mr. G was like transitioning, because Mr. Harris was retiring, and rest in peace to Mr. Harris, by the way, he's a legend. And she took over that year. We were in his room, and we had to do a social media project on a platform. And our social media app was Instagram.
Right.
So I'll let you take the floor. We're going to do a presentation in front of the room breaking down Instagram.
Right, so I'm trying to do my best to remember all of it, because I really remember like one specific part of it, and it was the one where it was the filters. That was the one that really was, that was the chaotic one, that I assume is the backbone of this story to begin with. So there was one about like, I guess it was, we were supposed to represent the filters. So me, being a genius, I took a bunch of pictures. I just made them weird. I think I had like my shirt over my head in one. I made a silly face in another. I turned the other one upside. Well, no, I didn't turn upside down. I was behind the computer. So when I leaned over to look at, my face was upside down, but the rest of the room was perfectly fine. And I know we took some more. I couldn't tell you what they were. But anyway, that and the rest of the project was massive. You probably remember the rest. But like the main thing was we got to that in class. Then we pull up the Google slide of the slide of that particular piece, and then it's a bunch of pictures of my face. We're talking about the filters. I think it was Mrs. Sarah asking like, I don't know, oh, is this supposed to show about like, is this supposed to show you guys like using the filters or whatever? And I said, oh no, it's just my face, and that's when I remember you having like, I think you like had to cover your face. You like stepped out of the room because you're trying so hard not to laugh. I don't really remember because I was more focused on like actually like, well, reading it as if nothing even happened. Like
the best way I could explain it, it was like an Impractical Joker skit. I was like Sal, you were like Joe in that moment, because you just kept going. You just you like smirked, but you just kept presenting the project. And Mr. Sarah was so dumbfounded. She was like, "Oh, those are you applying the filters," and you're like, "No, it's just my face." And that right there made me break to the point where because the door was right by the Promethean board. I had to step out in the hall for a sec to catch my breath. I came back in. You're still presenting. Then it was my turn to do the next slide, and you looked at me and you went, "You okay, pal?"
as if no, I just.
I'm like,
dumb.
And everyone's laughing, and I'm like, I'm all right. And then we just kept going. We got an A on it either way. So
yeah, I know. Which how is beyond me, seriously. But that was a really funny project. I really enjoyed that one.
Great project. I mean, Mr. Sarah is one of the legends out there too. I mean, I've always taken her class every chance I had. And Carlinton, I mean, although a lot of people don't, I've talked about Carlinton before on the podcast. A lot of people like to bash it because it's a small school, rules are unfair. Legislation. There's a lot of politics that go on within our school. But, I mean, there was a lot of great teachers there, too, man.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, like, the Mr. G's of the world, the Mr. B's of the world. I want to talk to you about some of your favorite teachers. Who were some of the teachers, I guess, that like not just your favorites, because I already know who you're gonna say for your favorites, but like who were some of the teachers, I guess, that had the biggest impact on you, and that you still take stuff that you learned from their class and you still apply to your everyday life? Who are some of those teachers that would like to give some shout outs to?
I mean, obviously, I feel like the real obvious answer would be Mr. G. I mean, just because that was, I feel like, of the electives, his classes were like I feel like were definitely the most helpful, which in my opinion shouldn't even be electives. I feel like most of his classes should be like a requirement, as in like they would teach you like accountings, it would teach you laws. Like I remember the ones about like the contracts and more like the legal based stuff, how to write a check, because I didn't know how to write a check. I still get confused on how to write a check. You know, I never have to. I only ever have to write like maybe 3 checks a year, maybe. So, like, it's the little things like that I feel like should be at least, like, in society. Because, like, I mean, you know, you kind of need to know how to do your taxes unless you want to get arrested, you know, so, or lose everything, or both, lose everything and get arrested. So it's like, I feel like that type of stuff, you have to know, you know, and to me, it's just a shame that, like, it's not a requirement. I don't really know how I was to explain that. That's just more so how I feel like regarding that, at least. So, obviously, I really don't like the stuff from his class. Not even just that, but, like, even, like, some of the more, I guess, like, I don't want to say funner-based stuff. Like, I know you took, what was it? You took sports something in that, right?
It was sports marketing.
Yeah,
that was actually where the Cougar Athletic competition came from.
Right, you took the sports marketing. I thought that was fun. I never took it because I'm personally not that interested in, like, well, that sports marketing or just really sports in general. I'm just not a big sports guy.
That's fair.
But yeah, I liked it. He was always fun. He was always good to me. I feel like I was always good to him. I think. I mean, aside from not showing up for like an entire semester, but I think I went into that enough. COVID sucks. It didn't make me feel good about anything. So enough of that. But no, I really enjoyed his class regarding that.
Yeah, Mr. G. Before you move into your next teacher, he is actually someone I plan on reaching out to get on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think a Mr. Javaden Austin Cairns interview would be amazing because a lot of the stuff that I learned from him, like I'm not going to go into too much detail because I want to get, this is for you. I want to get your opinion on this. Most of the fans already know me. Mr. Javaden is one of the few people outside of maybe my parents, you, and a couple other friends that I can confidently say always believed in me. Yeah. And took me out of my shell. He's the one that took me out of my shell because I used to do magic back in high school. Me doing magic tricks is what got me more comfortable with public speaking. And the only way that I was able to get comfortable doing magic in front of people was because he would pull me from class and let me do magic tricks for his middle school classes. Yeah. And then he would pull me into study halls, homeroom, any chance he got just to like get me more comfortable within myself and believe in myself. And he's the one that helped me find my confidence. Yeah, because you used to be like really quiet, really reserved, and now you're literally the complete opposite of that. I'm the complete opposite. I went from being conservative and quiet to Pittsburgh's favorite Jagoff. I don't know how that happened.
Nah, me neither. I mean, I definitely used to be like more quiet. I'd say I was more quiet, but definitely more annoying. But like, see, here's the thing. Like, I'm like my dad, as I was like, I'm like even you can agree. Like, I'm reserved on most things. Like, once I'm in my comfort zone, you can't get me to shut up. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about that. But
so some of the other teachers. So Mr. G is obviously a legend. He's a goat.
Obviously.
We love Mr. G. He's gonna be on this show one day. Mark my words. Even if I have to drive up to his classroom like I did Devontae Dean and sit in his room and interview him, I don't care. I'll take all this up there. What other teachers, I guess, like that we really don't talk about too much, would you give some like shout outs to just to show them some loves? Maybe you learned something from them. Maybe the class was just fun. Anybody else up there at Carlington? Because there's like, I could probably give you like 12 in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say, I think I mentioned Stagel before, but I just want to give the shout out again. I mean, he made the history really fun. Actually, I'll say the same thing about, I'll put these two in the same category. Mr. Stagel and Mr. Pasco.
Ooh,
Mr. Pasco is really fun. Is he still up there? Because I heard about him potentially retiring, but
Pasco's still up there.
Yeah. So both Mr. Pasco and Mr. Stagel made learning history really fun in their own funny little quirky ways. Because Mr. Pasco, I remember, we would read a lot from the book, like the old I don't know what they were called. You know, like every class has that one book, you know, you pause it to give you. So, because Mr. Stagel didn't really have the book. He did most of it. I don't want to say, I'll say more interactive. Like, he had it on the Promethean board that way. well, I say it as that was like these are like 4 years apart, kind of. So like you can see like the technological difference between Pasco's and then because there wasn't a whole lot. Well, we did have the boards actually. We had the board. We were upgrading boards, remember? Because we upgrade to more stuff, and then towards the very end, like when we started graduating, we had those. They were like actually like TV screens, weren't they? They weren't just like the boards on the. They were
like
just
monitors.
boards anymore.
Yeah. They were like I think they're called like the projector monitors or something. I don't know. Point Park uses them too. Like a lot of the colleges like adopted that system as well.
Yeah. Like I think it's like you don't need like the projector on the ceiling anymore. It's like its own like touch screen. It's like touch screen. I thought that was really cool, but like the difference between that and or just either or. But like I really liked how Mr. Pasco, because he did a lot of well, of course, calling on people. I mean, as I didn't like, I think it's fun getting class interaction. But every once in a while, he would dress up. that was fun. I remember one day he dressed up as like a Roman legion or something like that.
That's crazy.
I thought that was really cool. I also enjoyed his like final project. You could like you had to do either like a research type paper, or you could like make something from history. Because I remember. I forget her name. I think it was Savannah. She made like a glass, like it was a picture, but you made it out of broken up pieces of glass. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And like someone else made like a Trojan horse, and someone else made an aqueduct that you could actually pour water down it, and it would go all the way through. It was just really cool stuff like that. I like the flexibility with that.
And it was so cool. We used to have like this like big like window sill that like overlooked the room, and he would keep his favorites up there.
Yeah, he would keep all the projects in there. I thought that was really cool. And then Mr. Stagel, I mean, I feel like the main reason it was so fun with him. I mean, obviously he made it fun in his own way, but like specifically, like. You can really do whatever you want in there, and he wouldn't say it's like, oh man. I remember I wore a helmet in there.
I was waiting for it.
I wore a helmet while eating a hoagie. Not just like a little bit of a hoagie, not half a hoagie, a full like 12-inch hoagie stacked to the brim with toppings. I was just chowing away. It took me the whole class to eat it. I sat there and ate the whole class.
I mean, to add some more context to this too, Stagel's the type of person to eat in class too. He's the type of person to go in his mini fridge, grab a half gallon of milk, dump it into a bowl, dump some cereal in there, and walk around the classroom lecturing, eating a bowl of cereal.
Yeah, he is such a character, but I love him to death. I really do. He's just so real and down to earth. I think that's like also a good way to say it too. Like he doesn't like really hide anything. He's real with it. He'll tell you how it is. He's not afraid to shy away from who he truly is either, if that makes sense. Like he just puts himself out there and he's real about it. I have to commend that.
No, absolutely. I mean, I feel like most of the history teachers that we had, I mean, there's a select few, we don't need to name names, but there was a select few that we weren't exactly too fond of.
I can say about plenty of teachers, but I'm not here to do that.
Yeah, we're not going to bash anybody. At the end of the day, they did some great things for us, but Stagel and Patsko, I mean, I had the chance to see both of them recently. I mean, Patsko up at the school, and we actually ran into Stagel at the Western Beaver football game, Arlington's first playoff game in 23 years. We ran into them there, and I mean, he was Stagel. There's really nothing else.
Yeah, he was the same as I remember him.
Same as I remember. It doesn't change, which I love. I respect the hell out of that for him. I want to kind of transition to this now that we're kind of talking sports a little bit. So,
sure.
Carlington sports, if you know as well as I do, outside of swimming and basketball, it has been a complete train wreck.
It's lackluster to say the least.
It's lackluster
in my opinion.
To say the least. Basketball and swimming are the few bright spots. Swimming, we're actually one of the best in the state, which is crazy.
Yeah, right.
And then basketball, we're good, we're consistent, we're playoff contending at times, but we're not like superior.
Yeah.
Everything else is just bottom of the barrel. So I don't know if you want to blame the athletic department. I don't know if you want to blame coaching. I don't know if you want to blame just the lack of students, because again, our school was relatively small compared to like a South Fayette or like a Bishop Canevin or
even Montour. Montour's huge.
Montour, Chartiers Valley, like those schools, they're big schools, big schools. But you actually never really cared for the sports side of things. You never, and you still really don't to this day. I mean, like you never went to the basketball games, you never went to the football games. I started to try and open you up to that a little bit more. Me and you actually went and watched a basketball game, which was great.
That was good. I like that.
And then I know me and you went to a couple football games. You even went to some on your own just to go because you genuinely enjoyed them. And then we actually got to witness their first playoff game in 23 years, which in all honesty is probably going to be the only in our lifetime, which is sad to say. But just asking you, from someone who went from not really liking sports and still really not caring too much about it, to now being able to witness basketball and football, two different paced sports, for our school and see us win those games. What's that like, man? I mean, like, what's that like as a former student, as an alumni, and as someone who really doesn't care about sports?
I mean, well, I have to figure out how to put this guy. That's two completely different things. As in, like, for your, like, how I feel about it, and like as in how it represents the school. I mean, obviously, I feel like sports isn't a good way to represent your school, if that makes sense, because it's not. It's not really about like school in and of itself isn't really about your athletic ability. It's about your knowledge, really. How well are you taking in that information and applying it to your everyday life? Which, I mean, my opinion about that is I don't think school really offers too much of that in this day. And in terms of how today's world operates, I feel like there's a lot in our school system that could be get rid of, traded for other really good things. Again, I'm not here to talk about that. That's not my problem anyway. That's the government's problem, and they're probably not going to do anything about it anyway. Anyway, but no, I mean, in terms of like basically like my whole time at I'll just say high school, because I actually didn't know anything in elementary school. I'll say like what would that be, like 6 years in junior, senior high school. I mean, from always constantly like hearing about how much we suck at pretty much everything. That's really how I always remember it, is that we were just bad at everything. To then hearing, okay, this is getting better. And then now basketball is doing pretty good, and then swimming is doing pretty well too. And then all of a sudden now first time football has been in the playoffs since 23 years, and I'm like, how the hell did that happen? I mean, literally. So then, I mean, it never really, I don't know how to, like, I was never really one to like take pride in my school. I'm not trying to say it as in like, oh, our school sucks, or everything sucks for its own reason. That can be said about literally anything. But like, as for someone who never really cared about, like, for say representing Carlington or something like that, seeing us do good, that was nice to see. I mean, especially after so long of hearing, how bad we were. I mean, it felt good. I mean, I wasn't like all up in arms, like, whoa, let's go, yeah. I wasn't going crazy about it. But at the same time, it's like, hey, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the school, happy for the players, because I'd imagine as a player, that has to feel fantastic. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, me and you even know some of the players as well from the school. I mean,
yeah.
Devontae Dean, another guy who's been on the show before, like, great kid, very humble. Like, being able to go and see those people that we used to sit in some of the same classrooms with, to having that success on the field or on the court, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, and then, well, Jimmy Cairns is the son of my one of my bosses at work. So, well, that was also fun too, seeing, I know, I say it like, oh, it's fun seeing my boss out at work. It's like, what? Because who can say that?
Yeah.
But no, he's a real chill guy. He's really funny. But anyway, no, I mean, that's the attitude. Like, everyone, like especially like a small community like us, pretty much everyone, or someone who knows someone Like, it's all pretty tight knit. It's a small world.
It is a small world. The way that our school's broken up to, I've said it before, Carlington, it's made up of 3 different districts, 2 different elementary schools. You got Carnegie, Roslyn, Crafton Elementary, Carnegie Elementary. The way it's broken up is you have all the kids that live in Carnegie go to Carnegie Elementary. Yep. All the kids that live in Crafton go to Crafton. And then Roslyn, they just split it in half. Half go to Crafton, half go to Carnegie. And then everybody meets up at Carlington. And that's where all the fun begins. All
of a sudden, everyone is just...
And now we're all here.
I remember that first day in 7th grade, because I didn't know that's how that worked. I mean, that wasn't something you just got explained to.
Yeah.
We get up there, there's a bunch of, basically another half of people that you just never knew existed, never knew anything about, and all of a sudden, boom, now you're right there with them. And it's like, who? Shut up! Austin just did the boom and the Costco guys. Oh my god! Anyway, sorry that caught me up guard.
I had to.
A double chunk chocolate cookie.
Double chunk. We bring 5 big booms.
I'm like,
I apologize.
What was that one thing? Oh, I'm sorry, your grandma died. She gets 5 big booms. That was so bad. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to stop. I'm gonna implode.
Me and you and the Costco guys making content.
That would be insane. Oh my! I think that would be really funny if that ever did happen. Oh my lord!
That'd break the internet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, but back on track. But anyway, yeah, you're just thrown into this new environment, a high school environment. Well, completely different than elementary school. And then you're thrown in with another, basically same amount of kids as you had before, but now you don't know who they are. You're just thrown together. It's like, oh, who's this? Who's this? Who's everybody? Because not only are you thrown in with new people in your own grade, you're throwing with everybody else. I mean, at the time it was 8th grade through 12th grade of hundreds of people we never really saw before. I mean, granted, we saw some of them before when we were in the younger grades in elementary school and they were in upper, but even then, they still
they're all grown up now.
They're all grown up, and then they still have their Crafton and Roslyn counterparts as well. When at their time when they joined them as well, it's just so many different people. It's like, what do you do? You're nervous. You don't know what to do. It's like a whole new environment. It was a bit of a throw off, culture shock. I guess culture shock is a good way to say it. 'Cause it kind of is. It's a whole new environment, a whole new set of stuff to deal with.
I fully agree. I remember my first day of school. I had no clue what the gym was because the upstairs was easy because it's like one big rectangle, but downstairs it kind of like branches off into sections.
Yeah, that confused. A lot about that confused me. Oh man.
So I was going down like where Miss Begg and Mr. Badowski's room is, like towards the auditorium.
Uh-huh.
And I ran this bigger dude, and I was like, "Hey, excuse me, man." I was like, "I'm new. I'm in 7th grade. I have no clue where the gym is." And he was so cool. He's like, "Oh, buddy, it's on the other side of the school." He's like, "You mean to walk you there real quick?" He was like, "I don't want you to be late for your first day." I was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." So he walked me all the way like to right to the end of the hall, right to the end of the hall where the gym was. He's like, "Yeah, just keep going straight, and it's right there. You'll see it. You can't miss it."
Nice, W guy.
So W guy, I thought that was incredible, and that just shows you like although like high school at times can be rough. And, like, there's obviously bullying. There's obviously a lot of, like, drama and conflict that goes on. At the end of the day, when you go to a small school like that, it has its perks of kind of knowing everybody. Because I knew that guy all the way up until high school. I really forget his name. I apologize. But I think his name was Jonathan. I want to say it was Jonathan. It began with a J. Anyway, he was a good guy. And you kind of know everybody. Like, if I give you a name or you give me a name, we could just easily put face the picture. Because, like, face
usually.
the name. Because that's how small the school is. Now, you go to, like, Lucas, if he was here, for example, he goes to South Ed. If I were to say, like, "Oh, do you know who this person is?" He's like, "Oh, the name sounds familiar, but I have no clue who that is." Meanwhile, he's probably been going to school with them since elementary school, which is crazy to me.
I mean, there's still people like that. Like, even from our grade, I don't really know a whole lot about. I mean, it's crazy still. I mean, obviously, yeah, there's always those big faces that everyone knows. You know what I mean? But there's always those people, I don't want to say sit in the shadows, per se, but there's just, you get those people everywhere. You know what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely, and the crazy part is about the school we went to. I mean, I hope there's actually people listening to this, like maybe people we didn't talk to, because if so, they're probably like, "What the hell? These two guys, the quietest kids in the classroom, the ones that like,
what the hell are they doing?
What are they doing? They're on a podcast talking for over an hour. Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
So, to the people out there that's listening, like, I hope they hear this and maybe one day they would want to rekindle and have a conversation, because I would love to go back and talk to the people we never did back in high school, just like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely
catch up.
I mean, I certainly have different reasons for this that I don't want to talk about in here, but like there is a good bit of people that like I lost touch with that I do want to talk to again. More so tying up loose ends. Not, I mean, yeah, kind of in a bad way, not really, but just like make amends in sort of ways like that. Because as I mentioned before, I was annoying in high school. I mean, for lack of better words, I was a jerk. I mean, that's lightly, but I mean, yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, sorry, it's rough for me to talk about.
No, it's totally good. We don't need to talk about it, but like, yeah, like high school was a rough time for everybody. I mean, like, no one wants to sit in a classroom for 8 hours learning about nonsense that you're not going to use. Like, no one's going to use a squared plus b squared. And this is not a shot at Miss Parson. We love you, Miss Parson. But a squared plus b squared equals c squared. What the hell am I going to use that for?
Or proofs.
What am I going to use?
That was my big thing. Like, well, what am I doing? Again, I know it's not her.
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Ooh, the Golgi apparatus. Like, I don't need to know.
I feel like a better course for that would have been not the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but why is the mitochondria the powerhouse of the cell? There's a lot of just stuff thrown at you, and a whole lot that really isn't explained or really going in for it. I think a lot of people know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, or right. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, or not so much of like, why?
Why?
If that makes sense. I mean, I feel like, well, my mitochondria is a little bit easier on that, but even regardless, I think we have so much information at school shoved down our throats so much, and not a whole lot explained. It's just shoving it down for us to memorize, take a test, and then boom, we forget about it. Mm-hmm. That's how that's how most things went for me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, it feels like just like memorize this, learn these terms, learn these definitions, and take it on a test. Like, it's not like why we learn, and that's why I love college so much, because like it's hands-on. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's college courses that are lackluster and I feel like it's a waste of money, it's overpriced, but there's at times where I'm like, you know what, this is worth the experience, this is worth the real world stuff, and we'll get to that later when we get to college. Speaking of college though, you actually didn't go to college.
No,
After high school, I don't want to tell your personal opinion, but you had a bit of a rough end at high school because of the whole post-end of the pandemic, then you finally got your diploma, and then you moved into the real world, and compared to others our age, and probably compared to most of our graduating class, it seems like you kind of advanced into adulthood a lot faster because of the career path you went down.
Mm-hmm.
Would you mind maybe touching on that a little bit, kind of explaining what happened post-high school? Like, how did you get started so fast with your life, and what exactly do you do?
Okay. Of course, any time through this, ask whatever questions you want for it. But I'm trying to think exactly where to start. I'll start.
Start with like right after high school. You moving in is a good one.
Right. Actually, I'll start right after COVID. I think it's a good spot. So right after COVID, as I mentioned, like the whole thing with COVID, I really didn't show up to my online classes. Being at home stuck for months essentially. I still remember when Mr. G said, "Oh, this will be all over in 2 weeks," and that didn't happen. So
one time Mr. G was wrong.
Yeah,
Rare.
Right. I remember he was like, "I'm so excited to see you guys in 2 weeks when this is all done with." No. Anyway.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah, but anyway, being cooped up for, well, of course we did the last little bit of that year because I think we were all sent home for those quote unquote 2 weeks. I think that was, I'm gonna say, what was it, April, something like that. It was close to the end of the year because the end of that year it was there and gone. It was pretty easy. I mean, I'm not going into details, but I'd say it was pretty easy. They were pretty forgiving with that. I mean, throw into that all of a sudden I feel like that was a hard adjustment for probably most of us. And then we get past that summer and then we start the next full year. The next full year was going to be all online. So I did my first semester, I'd say pretty okay. The second semester hit, I remember I went to live classes, I think once or twice. Didn't again. But I just didn't. I couldn't. Being stuck at home got me really depressed, in a bad headspace. It was miserable. I don't know how to, I'm sure a lot of kids, even probably, parents and teachers alike probably felt somewhat the same way. But I think I took it pretty hard. I don't want to say I had like a whole lot of friends. I'm not trying to like say that either. But like the couple people that I would see throughout the day that I look forward to, not seeing them for, well, it went from days, weeks, and then months. I mean, because we couldn't really hang out in person either. And then not being able to go out, like, period, doing what you want. Most places were closed, either shut down completely, still haven't came back. And you had masks to worry about. And all that, real bad headspace. And I ended up failing that year. I had to take, I went to the summer classes. Did well with that, passed that, just fine. Next year rolls around, do all that. That was fine, too. Then the year after, which would have been senior year, I was doing pretty okay, but, there was a couple teachers that, I felt like it wasn't, I don't really want to say me. It's not really, sure, some of it was definitely me, duh, but, like, I feel like just the way they handled certain things, I feel like they were boning me, and some of the class is pretty hard. Again, I'm not going to point names. It's whatever. What am I going to do about it? So I ended up feeling that as well. I had a really rough time at home. Obviously, my dad was pissed, rightfully so, I would say. And that was bad for that little stretch there. Then I had to do again, back to the online stuff. I had to do online classes because at least for what I had to make up. Actually, I don't want to say that because it'll point out the teachers. I had to take two things. I had to do those and pass them. So I did that. I slaved away for those couple months here and there. I think I spent like 3 to 6 hours a day just working on there. Took me a while to do that, but I did it. And then I passed, got my diploma. My dad took me to get dinner, said he was proud of me, which was a shock compared to how mad he was when I first told him about it. I've never seen him more mad in my entire life. Oh, man. But that went well. So then that comes, okay, I passed high school. I don't know what to do. Now what? Because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I've thrown some things out there. Like I was probably going to get into some sort of like blue collar thing. Like I thought about doing like carpentry or just general construction.
For a trade, yeah.
For a trade. That's what my dad did. My dad at one point did everything before they started coming out with certifications for stuff. Because, like, as I've mentioned before, I do HVAC. He did HVAC before, but that was before you had to get EPA certified. Once that started, he stopped doing that because he said, I'm not doing that. I was doing just fine without it. You know, it was just stuff like that. Certain things that he used to do, he just didn't do anymore. He knows he can put in a furnace, he can do all that by himself, but obviously you need that EPA certification to deal with refrigerants. So, without getting that, you might as well just not do the rest, I suppose, is what he thought of. And then, anyway, so I was out of high school. I'm like, okay, what do I do? My girlfriend at the time, her stepdad, he was working at an HVAC company, and he said, hey, we're looking for another guy. I mean, preferably experienced, but I think working with me, I can teach you everything you need to know. I'm sure I can get the boss to allow you to have a shot. And if you are willing to take the chance, try it out, go for it. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Why not? What's the worst that can happen? You know. So then we were in the process of getting that all started, and all of a sudden, he was on the job actually, and the guy who he was working with got sick. Like one of the guys he was working with got sick. And he called me up and he said, hey, if I come get you, can you be ready in like 15 minutes? You can use my tools. Just help me out. I'll show you how to do some things. Just please help me out. And I said, sure. So I get ready. He shows up. Blah, blah. We go there. I'm so embarrassed by how little I knew. I mean, just compared to what I know now. But I didn't know anything. We were there for 10 hours. 10 hours.
Dang, 10 hours.
10 hours to get it all done. You know, well, I was really just standing there like an immigrant at DMV. I don't know how else to say. I had no clue. I was just standing there like, what's this? What does this do? How do I do this? I didn't know. I mean, I knew some like simple things, but like again, like I knew the simple things, not really nothing regarding that.
Yeah. So
I'm there. We get blah blah blah, and I get a call from the boss calls me a day or so later, and he says, hey, thanks for stepping up to the plate. Really appreciate that on such short notice. If you're willing to keep trying with us, I'll send you over some stuff, and we'll go from there. And that's really how that went. And I started working there for, at the time it was around 5 months, I think it was, about 5 months.
Wow.
And then I moved into my first house with that. And it was me, my girlfriend at the time, and her brother. And then there was some personal stuff going on with that. Not so much with me and my girlfriend and her brother, but more so the guy I was working with. And stuff, just stuff regarding that period, stuff regarding that. And then one thing led to another. I didn't get along with him. He left there. He said it was kind of because of me. I don't know if he was just talking out of his butt or whatever. Or I don't really know. Don't care. He was gone. And I was with the rest of the guys. And that was good for the next couple months until April. Because I moved into my house the January 1st, so then to April, so what, 3.5, 4 months or whatever that was. Because it was right at the beginning of April. I got laid off for the second time, and during that I was like, well, because the first time I got laid off, I was with my parents.
Yeah,
they could back me up there. I'm by myself. Ain't no one gonna back me up there. So I said, okay, well, I'm done. I mean, I can't pay my bills with nothing. You know what I mean? I need that income. So I said, see ya, and then I worked at a hotel for the meantime. It was right at the top of the hill from where I live. I worked up there, and in the meantime, I took the time to go get all the EPA stuff for my certification. I got the book, took it home, I studied it for, I think, 2 months. I read it over like 3 times. There was a little, not a cheat sheet, but it was more so like you give it to someone, they'll ask you questions, and you get it right, they tell you, that type of thing. A practice, So I did that. Studied for 2 months, went to Ari Michaels down in Pittsburgh, so thank you to them, because I'll get 2 shots. Mainly Ari Michaels down in Pittsburgh, and then the guy I used to work with at the company was Jamie Rubino. He really helped me out with that, because he had an account there. I couldn't purchase anything on the account, otherwise I would have to go through like the big group class, which is, you go there, you take the class, you're there for 10 hours. The first 8 hours is them teaching you the book, and the last 2 hours is the test. Just enough from school, as in like going through that for a week and then take a test at the end of the week didn't work for me. That really wasn't going to work for me. So he helped me out with getting the book. It's like $60 for the book. I think another 65 or 70 to take the test. And did the test in like an hour, which they said was really fast, but whatever. I didn't matter because I passed with flying colors all the way around. I think I got like a 90% on everything. So core, type 1, type 2, and type 3, which means I'm universally certified with that. I can work on stuff from your little air conditioners in your windows, your refrigerators, all the way up to the big rooftop units that are on top of like the commercial buildings and stuff like that. So I can do everything. That's kind of where that went. Then right after that, I applied to where I work at now, and which I have to commend them tremendously for how fast they got back to me, because I think I emailed them, hey, are you looking? I couldn't find them on anything. I didn't have Indeed or anything. I just went to their website, and I found their email, and I shot them a text like, hey, are you guys looking for installers, helpers, blah blah. I just got EPA certified. I'm looking to join if you guys are looking. And I get text back the same night. Yeah, we're looking to send over your resume, blah, blah. I send them back. Yeah, I'll send you my resume in probably later that day or the next day. Because I didn't have a resume. You know what I mean? I had to write. I wrote my resume in like 2 hours. I was thinking, like, what do I do? Because I didn't know. I mean, I know school taught you. But from what I understand, from what a lot of people tell me, like fellow students and or people who hire, they don't like the way they don't like the way it's structured, how school teaches you.
No, they don't.
Which is, again, like I was saying, how school teaches you all these really wonderful things that you can't use. That's another one of those things.
Correct.
So I'm trying to think. Okay, what do I do? 'Cause I don't really have any help. Anyway, I did that. Pieced it all together. Sent it in. The next day, they're like, "Yeah, cool. We'll get you an interview." The day after that, had the interview. Hired. I contacted them, got hired in 2 days.
Wow.
That's so
awesome.
that was perfect timing, because I think it was like that same week one of the install guys quit, so they were already looking at it. But I was like the first one to really send stuff in because I was just perfect timing. So that's how that went, and I guess it's kind of where we're at now. I mean, I've been working there for about 2 years minus my back injury that I had. So I was out of work for about 2 months because of that. Well, actually 3 months, because it was a month before I could even get seen anyway. Yeah, that was rough. But that's really kind of where I'm at now. I don't really know what else to touch on regarding that.
So you go from, and I already know this because I'm obviously a friend of yours, but just for the audience out there, so you ended up going from high school. I wouldn't say slacking off, because that's not a good term to use. I would say like you had a loss of motivation for attending classes.
100%.
And that almost went to your demise, but overall you turned that into grinding it out, getting that diploma.
Yep.
Getting your first job, moving into your first house. All of it hit you so fast.
Yeah.
2 different jobs later, now you're officially EPA certified, doing your own thing. That's honestly incredible, man. Being able to do that with a company that you love so much, and you were talking highly about your boss earlier as well. I can only imagine what that's like, because personally speaking, I have a really good relationship with my boss as well. I actually just was on the phone with her a couple nights ago telling about all the success I have here on 2 Jagoffs. But being able to have a boss like that is so cool, and I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome that you're EPA certified. You're going out there. You're a lot more confident within yourself.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm confident in myself with certain things. I mean, I would definitely say I still am, I guess, self-conscious about certain things. Things I shouldn't be, but it's just, we all have those things we're self-conscious about, regardless.
Absolutely. And the thing that's crazy is, like, that's a career path you chose. I'm going down a career path, like, where I'm chasing more of a dream and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want to kind of get to know, like, one last thing before we transition to our last topic of today. What is some, I guess, like, your personal hobbies? You don't have to go into, like, too much detail on this, but just, like, overall, like, some stuff that you do that's for fun, to keep Kevin happy.
Okay. Keep Kevin happy. So
maybe give me, like, 1 or 2 things, because I got a big question for you at the end.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'll go through a couple of things. I feel like they all tie kind of together, but it's just my core. So it's me. So, I mean, my everyday, like, day-to-day is usually, as stupid as it's just YouTube. I mean, I don't pay for cable because cable sucks. It's overpriced to get nothing and commercials.
I don't mean to cut you off. I wanted to tell you this. We just got rid of cable last week.
Good.
We just got rid of it. We're done with it.
Good
it's waste of money. Waste of money.
Oh man, I remember. Well, this was like 10 years ago now. I mean, who knows what it is? Because I don't know what it is now. I remember when I first got all my internet stuff, because I have Verizon. I remember looking at all their packages and stuff. I don't remember what they are right now, but all I know is what I went with was way better. But my uncle, rest in peace him, like the 10 years ago. I remember this was 10 years ago. His cable bill was $180 a month. It was with internet. He had a bunch of channels. He only watched like 5 channels, which to me is insane. And even now, I mean, at least from what I remember now, it's all, you have to pay so much to get so little. And God forbid you want to watch something sports related, that's even more. They charge you out the butt for sports stuff, which is something for me. Because if I were to get cable, it has to be like the Penguins on it, because that's my bread and butter. I like the Penguins. That's really the only sport that I would watch on my own. But oh, wait, back to hobbies. Sorry. So also good on you guys for getting rid of cable. Cable sucks.
It's awful. It's a waste of money.
So yeah, I watch YouTube in my free time. I watch so many different things I can't even like say, oh, what do you like to watch on YouTube? I'll be here for 5 minutes, seriously, just yapping about YouTube.
Yep.
So there's YouTube. I like to travel. I just took my parents on at the time of recording. I just took my parents on a trip to the Cass Scenic Railway in West Virginia, just as a way to like give back a little bit, because all my life they've been taking me places, and I'm at a point where I can give back a little bit. And plus, I would like to spend some time with my family, because there might be a time where I won't be able to. I mean, who knows? I mean, one of them could keel over today. It's I mean seriously. I mean you have to look at it. You have to. I mean, I live life. I mean, obviously I have future goals, blah blah. But like I live every day, sort of like there isn't going to be a tomorrow. I feel like that gives into why I have that not give a crap attitude, because I really don't. I mean, you know what I mean? You can't, at least for me, I can't worry about everything. I don't care about everything so much just because there might not be a tomorrow, and then all those things you cared about, they're just gone. And then there's nothing. There's no more. Anyway, so there's that. I have a hobby of collecting antique firearms. As I don't know if I mentioned it before on here, but I have an 1887 Martini Henry Mark IV. That's my baby. That's my bread and butter. I have a 1858 reproduction of a Colt Model Army percussion cap pistol. I have a 1917 Enfield rifle. That was not, I mean, I don't want to say, I don't think it was supposed to be a replacement for like the 1903 that we used in World War I, but it was made with that, and then the British had their own, I think theirs was the pattern 14. It was the exact same one, but chambered in the 303 over there. I like collecting that. I love the old black powder stuff. I think it's really cool. And something else I like to do, I really like the classic divorced old man hobby. I like model trains, because that's what my grandfather liked and did. And same thing with my dad when he was a kid. So they kind of passed it on to me, and now I'm turning an entire room into a big train layout, which I think is, well, once it's all done, is going to be really cool.
That's incredible.
So that's my hobby. That's the stuff I like to do.
So you're talking about one of your hobbies is being a Penguins lover. You're
Yep.
a big Pittsburgh Penguins fan. This is why I want to get into the sports side of things now.
Sure.
It's funny that you're on a sports podcast, but you're really not the biggest sports fan. So
Yeah, I know. It's
how ironic.
I'm more here for you.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. But you're a big Penguins guy, and the Penguins aren't the only team in Pittsburgh. I mean, you got the Steelers, you got the Pirates, and obviously you got the Penguins. Those are the 3 big teams. And all 3 of those teams, I mean, I've covered it dozens of times on this podcast. You've probably heard it. You've probably seen the clips everywhere.
Man.
Of me just ranting and raving about these teams, especially the Penguins. I mean,
Yeah.
the amount, I was just on sideline debating whether or not they should be sellers or buyers, whether they should be starting to get rid of their team and stuff. And there's just a lot going on within the Steel City. So I just want to get your opinion on the Penguins right now. I mean, do you still have hope, or do you think it's like just start from scratch at this point?
I mean, I don't think start over is the right answer necessarily, because we do have good players. I mean, Malkin's still with us. I mean, we have Crosby. He's an all-star. I forget the rest. I know I say, oh, he's a big Penguins fan. Yeah, Letang. You know what I mean. I mean, we always hear about the big names, blah, blah. It's more, it's the coach. I really think it's the coaching. I don't know what's going on. I mean, we would be in the playoffs all the time, and then there was that year of back-to-back Stanley Cups. Where is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, what was it, the last 2 years we didn't even make it to the playoffs?
Last 2 years we didn't make it to the playoffs, and then the 3 years prior to that were all first-round exits.
Yeah.
And one of them we watched, the Rangers series.
Yeah, that was That was abysmal. I mean, to be fair,
Great series.
So I was just ready. That was whenever we got the Jake Gensel. Woo! Because he got a goal, and you can hear him like on the camera. You go woo! Like you can hear him over everything else. It was so funny.
That's also where the Louis Domingue jokes came in, because Louis Domingue was the goalie for Jarry and DeSmith at the time when they were both hurt.
That was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
I think he cost us.
I agree. I 100% agree. And I mean, coaching, it seems like it's not just a theme for the Pens. It seems like it's a theme for all three teams. I mean, you can make a case for the Tomlin and the Steelers, the Pirates organization. I mean, like...
The Pirates is its own thing. Seriously, I mean, I haven't watched a Pirate game in years because of this, but it's more so... Okay, here's my thing. I think the Pirates have gone from having good players to just caring about the money, in my opinion, because they keep getting good people, and trading them off because they're looking for the future. Where's the future? You're getting rid of it. You know what I mean? It's just... I mean, I can't really say too much about that just because I haven't watched the Pirates in so long because they're so sad. They're sad enough to hear about it. You think I want to watch it? No.
Not at all. Not at all. And I mean, there's another sport I want to touch on a little bit. One that I recently got you into, professional wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, for the longest time, you know I'm an avid wrestling lover. That's my cup of tea right there. I've been a fan ever since I could walk and talk. And I had the chance to take you to several shows before, IWC shows, which I intern with now. We went to Enjoy Wrestling. That was actually the first ever wrestling show you went to.
Yep.
What's it like now, being from someone who was looking outside in, to now actually being inside, now being a part, I guess, of the wrestling community? What's that like now?
Well, from from all I can remember hearing about wrestling, I would always hear about, oh, wrestling's fake, that stuff isn't real, blah blah. I mean, I some of that is kind of true. I mean, it is scripted, but I think that adds to the charm and the fun. I mean, you got the storylines, you got the beef between people, which I think is hilarious. Obviously the hits that they take are real. I mean,
real bumps.
Yeah. I mean, just at the last wrestling show that we were at, poor Andrew Palace hit the ground. What was it? Dislocated shoulder, concussion. A lot of bad stuff. So I mean, if that's fake, I'm scared to know what's real. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah. I mean, looking from the outside in, knowing all this, I'm like, oh, I don't care, you know. And then finally going to see one in person, it is so different. It is so much fun in person. I mean, it sounds weird saying I want to go to an event watching a bunch of almost naked dudes fight each other, but it's fun. It really is fun to watch them. The banter, even the crowd interaction too. You heckle, you're the worst with the heckling. You torture everybody. You got water thrown at you, dude. That was hilarious.
Cannon Christopher at IWC, I think it was the Pittsburgh Classic. We were both front row, and I was like, "Yo, Cannon, I'm thirsty. Let me get a drink." And he comes over with his water bottle, and he just throws it right in my face. It was hilarious. Everyone at the show makes fun of me for that all the time. They all laugh. They love it. But yeah, no. Wrestling has always been a special place in my heart. I actually just recently started back up my Inside the Ring podcast just so I could talk wrestling again. Because I have that much of a fandom for it. I love professional wrestling. So I'm very happy that you're now in that community. I want to end off today's episode having some fun. I mean, like,
obviously,
usually on the podcast, I did this with the Caden interview, I did with Devontae, I'm going to do it with you as well. We do different game shows every week. You know the drill. Thursday, we do a weekly episode. Sunday, we do a game show episode. And I figured I have a couple of questions lined up for you. We don't need to spend too much time on it. Just
that's fine.
Kind of give a little opinion on it. These are some interesting questions. Kind of some questions you really have to think on. Some of them should be quick, but some of them you have to think on. We're going to play an impromptu this or that. All right? Okay. I did this with some other people in the past. That's pretty simple. I give you a scenario, and you either choose this or that, and then you just explain why. And we'll see where this goes. So the first one, it's an easy one. I just want to get this one off the table just to kind of set the tone. Mm-hmm. PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
There it is.
I mean, okay, I'll put like this. I mean, I'm just gonna say PlayStation because at least me growing up, I feel like the biggest influence when you're growing up is what do your friends have. I think that's like the biggest influence. What do your friends have? Because obviously, if all your friends have PlayStation, for example, and you get an Xbox, you can't play with them. Why'd you get that? So I mean, all my friends I talked to at the time, that was really before I met you, they all had PlayStation. So I got PlayStation. Plus, well, at the time, I would say PlayStation was better because at the time, Xbox, you needed Xbox Live to do anything online. At the time, you didn't need PlayStation Plus to play online. Now you do. I'd say they're pretty much the same, minus Xbox having like backwards compatibility and certain like early access and exclusive deals, stuff like that. Now I'd say they're pretty the same, but if I'm being real, get a PC. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, anymore, I don't think console is worth it just to get a console. Back then, yeah, sure. But now, I mean, my next thing, my next thing's a PC. Because at least on PC, I mean, you can do anything on PC. I mean, you play on Xbox or PlayStation, you might have a system only game. Say you want to play something on Xbox, and it's only on PlayStation. You can't play it. And then certain things that I want to play are only on PC. Like, I mean, I remember when the whole Lethal Company craze came out. I still really enjoy that game. Watching it, at least I haven't played it because I have a PlayStation. That's why I'm going to, when I get a PC, you can bet your butt I'm playing that game. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. And then, like, of course, being Call of Duty lovers, we all have seen, well, I mean, I grew up, I was seeing the World at War custom zombies. And those were great. And then Black Ops 3 came out. And there's Black Ops 3 custom zombies, which I think is probably the only thing keeping the zombies alive right now.
I agree.
So I want to dabble into that as well. I mean, that's something that you miss out on when you're on console. You can't interact with that type of stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a PlayStation lover too. I started on Xbox. Actually, I started on PlayStation 2. Then I went to Xbox 360. Then I went back to PS4. So I kind of bounced around different consoles. Xbox 360 still has a special place in my heart because I used to play with friends back then. But then when I got to high school, everyone had PlayStation that I knew. And I was like, okay, I got to make a business decision here. Go PS4 instead of Xbox One. And I don't even have a desire to get the other new consoles because they're so expensive. I'm so busy nowadays. There's no point. Like you said, just invest in a PC.
I mean, not only are they like really expensive, how soon they come out with new stuff. You have to keep upgrading so much. Which I know you can seriously if they buy a PC. Don't you have to upgrade like your storage or your RAM or your graphics card so often? Yeah, but you're not limited. Really, no, if you think about it, you're not really limited. You can do anything.
It's bad enough we already have to upgrade computers and cell phones all the time. Hell, I just upgraded podcast equipment finally. So like, I'm not about to upgrade my gaming setup when I barely even game to begin with. That just
I hardly game anymore. I mean, my most recent game really has been, which I know is funny. I don't know if you guys know what The Long Dark is, but I watch content on The Long. How do I explain? Okay, it's a survival game. You're in Canada. It's like not really post-apocalyptic, but like I forget the story because they at the time there really wasn't a story. It was just mainly survival mode. But anyway, you're like doing survival. You're doing survival, and it's wintertime, which I think was a pretty nice concept because you always see like the survival games. You like for say 7 Days to Die, it's zombie apocalypse, or there's the forest. You're fighting cannibals in the middle of the forest, or even fairly recently there was Green Hell. You're in the Amazon rainforest and you're surviving there as well. The Long Dark, when it came out, I thought it was pretty unique at the time. I mean, I don't remember ever seeing like a winter survival game like that. Plus, I really like the art style. It's all paint, like everything is like painted, if that makes sense to you. Like the sky and the clouds are like blots of like from a brush from a paint. I think I really enjoy it. And since then, I think the game came out like 2014 or 2013. It's a pretty old game now. I remember seeing that, and I've been playing that recently. Just whenever I'm bored, I guess that's where I would listen to podcasts. I would listen to your podcast, some other podcasts, because usually like what I would do in the summer, like at least at work, because I'm usually like how like me and my crew work. My lead is inside working on the furnace and the coil, and I'm outside working on the air conditioner because I'm by myself. I have a magnetic speaker. I stick it right to the side of the air conditioner while I'm doing my wiring and my brazing and all that, checking my charges and stuff like that. With the nitrogen and putting refrigerant in, I have my speaker playing. That's where I would listen to my podcast. Because I don't want to play it, I mean, with him there. He doesn't care. I try to be considerate like that. But, like, that's really all I've been playing recently. I don't even, the last time I touched zombies was the last time me and you played.
Same here. Honestly, same here. It's just gaming is kind of faded as I got older. I want to move into these next questions. I got a couple more for you.
Sure.
Next up, rapid fire. In-person shopping or online shopping?
It depends.
Just overall.
Overall, online shopping.
It's easier.
It's so much easier. You don't gotta do it in the public. You don't have to look at just what the store has. You look at really anything. Order from anywhere, basically. I mean,
absolutely, yeah. And I mean, in-person shopping for like groceries, and I would say like some
you,
sort of
like
clothing sometimes is probably better because you have to try it on.
Yeah.
But like. Like if I'm gonna like my podcast equipment, I don't need to go to Best Buy for that. Just let me order it online.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, like on Amazon, at least like the tools that I usually find the better deals on Amazon for my like tools for work. I just got new tools for work, and they were, like, one of them was like $25 cheaper. The other one was $50 cheaper. than if I went to Home Depot and got it. It's just, you know what I mean?
It makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
And Amazon Prime too is a big one. So.
Mm-hmm.
Next question: Easter or Thanksgiving? Obviously, Christmas is like one of the more superior holidays, I guess you could say. But those are two fun holidays that you still get together with family, have a nice little feast. What do you like better? Are you more of an Easter guy or a Thanksgiving guy?
I say Thanksgiving guy. I like it. The family gets together. I mean, well, I wonder what you do for Easter too. No, yeah, right. I don't know. The food's kind of the same. I mean, yeah, Easter. I mean, well, when you're younger, you go searching for like the Easter eggs. You might find money or candy. We don't do that now, duh. But like, I don't know. I like Thanksgiving. It's as I said before in the one episode, it's the warm up to Christmas.
Yeah.
And when you're at Thanksgiving, Christmas is right around the corner. You know, it's about a month away at that time. So it's like, yeah, that's how I feel about that, I guess.
All right, I 100% agree with you. I mean, I just love the Thanksgiving meal, the football games, the weather, the temperature. Like Easter, I feel like I'm more stressed around Easter time. I don't know what it is. But let's move into last this or that question. This is going to wrap up today's episode.
All right.
I know these are two of your favorite fast food restaurants.
Oh, no.
I want to get your opinion on it. Arby's or McDonald's?
Oh, man. Okay.
Hang off on a tough one, because I know you love both of them.
Right. Okay, so this isn't like my final answer, but like Arby's, I really only go when they give out the coupons. But like, they give out coupons all the time. I don't even remember the last time McDonald's gave out coupons. I think they do that on the app. I think that's what that is. They get the deals on the apps, which there's too many apps and too many subscription services for everything. I'm not getting another one. I'm just not. But I think where I go often, I'd probably just be McDonald's. I mean, I'd say they're on the pricier side, but it's just like, I mean, there's a McDonald's everywhere. You know what I mean?
And most of them are open all the time. So it's a nice, if you just need something to get real quick, go to McDonald's.
Yeah, right.
They'll have you. Get those fries, get the Coke, you'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
No, I 100% agree with you. Kevin, what a great episode, man. I mean, well over an hour. We just got to sit here, talk, BS, have some fun. We talked about beginnings from all the ways up from Carlington up until college. Well, I mean, obviously I'm in college, you're not. What you're doing while I'm in college.
Mm-hmm.
So some of our hobbies and stuff like that. I went off today's episode asking you this. Do you happen to have any final words to the Jagoff Mafia out there, for the listeners of Two Jagoffs? Any social media platforms you would like to plug or anything like that? Or any other, I guess, final words to end off today's great episode?
I mean, obviously, as I always say, thanks for you guys for making his, I don't want to say like career, but at least, yeah, I'll say career possible. I feel like this can be something in the future for sure. Because well enough, I mean, me coming on, as I always say, is always fun no matter what it is. There's always some sort of chaos going on, which it definitely adds to the charm and the fun of it.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, something as well, I don't know when or whatever, but like as well, me and you talked about before, like off camera, I was thinking of maybe doing like some sort of like content creation stuff for me. Like I'm thinking I might do like a podcast too at some point, like literally just because of me and him going on here. Well, really me coming on here every now and then. It's fun. I like doing it. Don't have a single clue what the hell I would talk about. Again, it would probably just be random stuff and probably nothing in particular.
Sometimes those are the best ones, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, really, just something you can throw on. I don't know. You're washing dishes. You're cutting grass. What can I listen to for a half hour, 45 minutes, or an hour just to have something on the background? And that could be me. Who cares? I mean, I'm not doing it to make money. I'm doing it just to have fun. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely like, at least like mainly for like the podcast stuff, definitely ignited something in me for sure. I mean, it's just, I find it really fun. I like it. So, and as you mentioned before, we did our own like skit stuff in the past, which was definitely fun. I don't know if that's what I'm gonna do. I probably will, but just something to have fun with, occupy my time a little bit, and just escape the boredom. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you for having me on, as always.
Absolutely. Kevin, thank you again so much, my man. You're more than welcome to come on the podcast anytime. We definitely have some content planned for later on down the road. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Two Jagoffs. More interviews are coming along the way. There's some big names going to be coming here on the podcast. I'm not saying you're not a big name, Kevin. I love you.
Wow, I see how it is.
No. I love you. I love you. I'm not saying that you're not a big name. But
yeah, I'm a big man like Queso.
But you do. Queso would be crazy to have on as a guest. I'd actually bring you on to co-host that one with me if we had Queso on.
Oh, man.
That would be sick.
That would be that's a big goal if it were. Oh man, I'm not gonna take up too much time. I know it's the end, but I love Queso so much. He's such a good streamer, such a good guy. I love the way his chat interacts. It's so funny.
Great guy. He's freaking hilarious. I love Queso. But yeah, no. Definitely we'll have you on in the future. We'll do some more interviews, maybe some more content, stuff like that. Maybe even some more game shows. Get Lucas back on.
Yeah.
It'll be a blast. Well, that's all for 2 Jagoffs today. Make sure to go check out the Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter page, along with our Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. I'm Austin. That's Kevin. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.
Peace.